Ceri, you are the Hyrox affiliate manager and co-founder of Goat Nasal and Mouth Tape. What makes a product or idea something that people want to be a part of?
Good question. I think when anybody starts a business, whether it's service or product based, they hope that everybody just comes flooding in. But to entice them in, I think it's either got to be game changing and so much better or so much different to anything else that's out there, which then creates a bit of intrigue, or it has to solve the exact problem that it's been advertised to do.
So why do you think Hyrox has become so popular in today within modern exercise?
The thing about Hyrox is it's just training. It's strength and conditioning. It's just training, but they've put a new spin on it. So it's the new thing. Back to my comment about what makes people want to be part of it is it solves a problem. Now, that problem in my eyes of something like its competitor with CrossFit is the fact that it's too inaccessible. I like to consider myself a bit of an athlete. I've been around the block of time. I've trained lots of different modalities over the years, but I still wouldn't go and do a CrossFit comp. I do lift barbells. I do work hard, sometimes until I almost pass out, but I just don't want to do CrossFit because it seems to me silly at times with the types of exercise and knowing my strength and conditioning background just doesn't make sense. Whereas Hyrox, it's so appealing because it's accessible to everyone. So if you are an elite CrossFitter or you are 150 kilos, you've just got yourself off the couch and started moving, it's doable. Of course, it's going to hurt, but whether you go balls to the wall as hard as you can and try and break an hour mark, or you just try and finish it. And I know plenty of people that have done it in 2.5 hours. One in particular, 73-year-old lady, got it done, 2 hours, 33 minutes. But it was so accessible. I think that's what's made it grow so quick.
Yeah, I guess when we make something really accessible, that then creates a great community around that space as well. You've been mentioning sort of CrossFit, which is probably one of the main competitors of Hyrox. I agree with you that CrossFit is perhaps, you have to learn a lot of technique, right? There's a lot of Olympic lifting. Within Hyrox, there's a simple structure. What structure is that of a Hyrox competition?
So when you look at Hyrox, now I was the first Hyrox training club, meaning the first affiliate here in WA when the affiliates opened up. And I launched it to my members, said, hey, we are now WA's first Hyrox training club. A few of them freaked out. And they freaked out because of what they'd seen in the media on Instagram, TikTok of what Hyrox was. Now, what they'd seen was people with their shirts off, like a CrossFit comp, or chicks in sports bras and tight booty shorts, smashing themselves in a convention center style setting, because that's what the only thing that was getting posted. But what is Hyrox? Well, Hyrox is the competition. It's the race. And now that race consists of 8 kilometers of running, which sounds a lot to someone that doesn't like running, but it's broken up into 8 1-kilometer runs. After every run, you have an exercise station. And that's 8 different exercise stations. Some are lower body focused, some are upper body, some are a combination of both. So ultimately, what is Hyrox? It's a race that has 8 stations and 8 kilometers of running.
Yeah. I guess what you just mentioned as well about CrossFit is you have these incredibly fit individuals most of the time where you, like you said, men with shirt off, women in not much clothing. That can be quite intimidating.
Yep.
Right. Walking into an environment like that, like even myself, who I've gone to the gym for years, right? I've done classes, I've done different types of events, I've competed in sports at higher level. I don't think I would be comfortable walking into a CrossFit gym because almost the intimidation around it and the reputation around it almost seems a bit daunting.
Don't get me wrong. I've got some friends in the industry that own CrossFit gyms that have some overweight, unhealthy beginner athletes go to these gyms and they fit in incredibly well. They train alongside some of the best CrossFitters in WA and they're fine. But that doesn't happen often. And it's generally because they've got a friend that's elite that's dragged them into the community and it makes it work. So they can go hand in hand, someone that's never trained before and an elite CrossFitter. But I find that there's just too much of a disparity between someone just starting and a good CrossFitter, and people want to be good and they don't want to look silly or look inadequate. So they're just too scared to do it.
This is coming from a place that I actually have no knowledge of. Does CrossFit or Hyrox have different types of almost weight classes, as in beginner, medium, professional? Are the comps organized in that way?
So with Hyrox, what you've got is Hyrox Open and Hyrox Pro, which basically means you just do a little bit heavier weights when it comes to 4 of these stations on Hyrox. So let's just go for the last one, which is the fan favorite. It's the wall balls. The Open, and we're talking about just men now, is 100 reps at 6 kilos. The Pro version is just 100 reps at 9 kilos. So it's just a little bit heavier. That's it. That's the only difference. The distances are the same on a rower, distances same on a ski. Burpees exactly the same. It's just a couple of things that is a little bit heavier.
Yeah. So everyone's kind of competing together, but perhaps have different advantages, or not advantages, but different things to challenge them in the same environment.
For sure.
I just want to read you a statistic because I have it here. Over 550,000 athletes competed in Hyrox events in 2025 across 80 plus races in 30 plus countries. And this is up from 175,000 in 2023 and only 650 in 2018. How does a brand like that go from 650 participants to over 550,000 within 7 years?
Firstly, I would say they have a good product. So it has to be something that's good. And I feel that Hyrox is good. It's accessible to everyone. So it could adopt mass participation. Did you say 650 in 18?
Only 650 participants.
So 650, I would almost guarantee that those 650 enjoyed it. They told a friend who told someone. It's just exponentially grown from there through having a good quality product, good competition, well branded, well marketed, and then it's a community feel. And one thing I think is really good about Hyrox is there's lots of communities within the community. CrossFit is just CrossFit. And I know I keep referencing CrossFit because people think it's a competitor, but I generally don't think it is. Like CrossFit is CrossFit. Hyrox, you've got the beginners, you've got the corporates that put a team in to do it. Then you've got some of the everyday athletes. And then you've got the elite 15, so like the best of the best. So Hyrox as a community is awesome, but within that community, you've got smaller communities. And that's what I think has grown it from 650 to over 500,000. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think it's now well over that. Like the event that's coming up in 10 days. Yep, 10 days over in Melbourne. There's going to be over 20,000 people at that one event.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's a lot of people.
It's a lot. I'm actually going to disagree with you. I think CrossFit and Hyrox are competitors, right? They're in the same space and they're kind of fighting for a similar type of person, right? You have to be a type of person to compete within an event. Yep. Marathon, Hyrox, CrossFit, your local class at your local gym.
Yeah, okay.
I believe there's a lot of athlete migration. Are you aware of the CrossFit incident in 2024?
With the swimmer?
CrossFit had a type of event that combined 3.5 mile runs and 800 meter open swims. And unfortunately, they had an individual drown, which is awful. That's terrible. And obviously, our thoughts go out to them. But after that, it was controversial because there weren't enough safety concerns and there weren't enough things put in place or enough funding put in place for them to run that safely. And then the games continued and that experienced a lot of athlete backlash. A lot of top athletes withdrew from that CrossFit competition. And now I think as a result of that, many athletes are beginning to shift to alternate competitors such as Hyrox because of safety and transparency.
Yep, potentially. On that, I believe that people are shifting, but they're potentially using that as an excuse because they were bored of CrossFit, or it's changed too much from what it was originally, from what it was intended in the way that it's now changed. It hadn't really evolved too much over time. So I think potentially they're using that incident as a way of getting out of the sport rather than saying I'm quitting, I'm leaving, or I'm now jumping ship to something else. And the reason I say that is because when you look at there's the Ironman in Perth end of this week, actually. Ironman events all around the world. Occasionally, And it happens far too often, but occasionally there are some people that drown doing that, and you don't see it. The elite 15 or the elite Ironmanners saying, "Hey, I'm now leaving Ironman to go and do another event because someone passed away in the water." So I think they used that event and that incident as a way of just getting out of it because they were probably over it, or they weren't fulfilled enough in some capacity.
Yeah. I guess you could almost compare it to like a bad relationship, right?
Yeah.
Within,
It was just an easy out.
it's not so bad that you
Mhm.
have to leave just yet, but the next thing that happened, that was enough for you to sort of
Because you'd
walk
expect,
away.
as an example, with the Ironman, that everyone that's doing it has probably prepared for their swim, but it still happens. And there was a race recently, 2 people passed away. But I'm sure they'd done all their risk assessments. They had enough, or they thought they had enough emergency services and helpers in the water to help them, but it just didn't happen. So I genuinely believe that those that got out of Hyrox and made a stand, yes, it was probably for the improvement of the sport in light of what happened, but that was their way of just getting out.
Are you aware of the percentage of total gyms that are specialized gyms?
Specialized in what way?
Specialized as in they're getting a product like Hyrox or something like Pilates, something that is a idea and a concept rather than just a overall weightlifting gym or a conventional gym.
If I was to hazard a guess at what it would be, I think from what I know about business and the fact that I've got 4 facilities that are specialized, it should be well over 70%. It should be. It's probably closer to half or less than half.
It's 42%.
Yeah.
What do you think that says about people wanting to go and try different things or brands trying to venture out into their own markets?
I'll take an example of my gym. We're 200 members and we are at full capacity. Cannot take another person. We've got a waiting list to join. So if you're very good at what you do and people will come, having that, whether it's exclusivity as such or being so dialed in on your product, people know exactly what you do. You appeal to a certain type of person that you should fill it quite quickly. If you don't have that and you try and be everything for everyone, I feel that's where you're going to struggle. You're not going to keep retention, and people will then bounce from place to place because what they think they're going to get, they don't actually get.
We're obviously here to speak about branding as a whole. Hyrox has done a fantastic job of that. I mentioned that you're also a co-founder of GOAT. Talk to me about that. What does that brand do that separates it from its competitors?
One of the biggest differences with us is that we have a community. We, as founders, are the face of the brand.
Maybe explain to us what GOAT is.
GOAT
first.
is the greatest of all tapes. Now, for those watching or that can see, it's a nasal strip. So we've got nasal strips to open up your nasal passage, which, as you know, more oxygen, improved performance, better recovery, and improved sleep. Then we also have a mouth tape product, which promotes nasal breathing and the benefits of nasal breathing. If you've ever read the book Breathe by James Nestor, I believe.
I actually have that on my bookshelf and I haven't read it yet.
It is game changing. So side note, in that he does a study, 10 days of, I can't remember which way he did first, but it must have been 10 days where he blocked his nose and only mouth breathed for the whole 10 days. He did his key markers at the start and the end of the 10 days. After 10 days, he covered his mouth, taped his mouth up, and only nasal breathed, unless it was to sip water, to drink, or to eat. But ultimately, he was 24/7 for 10 days of mouth breathing only first. Then he did his blood markers in the middle. Then he went again after another 10 days of just nasal breathing. And the difference between his health markers was absolutely incredible.
What were they? Can you remember?
I can't remember what they actually were, but it was enough for me to be like, holy shit, I need to do something about my breathing, which is then kind of where this came out. And as a late 30-year-old athlete and rugby player that was still trying to improve or compete with the young players at the top level, that's how I actually got into the nasal strips and all that stuff, because it was something that I genuinely think would be a game changer for my performance and recovery.
Yeah. So mouth breathing, obviously, there's less oxygen efficiency, skips nasal filtration and nitric oxide production, which leads to poorer oxygen delivery. There's higher stress responses. Mouth breathing triggers shallow, fast breaths. And also it's just dryness and irritation of the mouth. You would know even at night, if you wake up, you know, you have a dry mouth, it's irritating. So that's absolutely fantastic. If you had to create a product or idea such as Hyrox or Goat from scratch, from day one, what would be the steps to get people on board and to make it a successful business?
Two very different things, but if it was a product like Goat, quite simply, it would be fully believe in it. So do your research first and understand the problem that you're trying to solve, which is health ultimately, or improved performance and recovery. And once you've got a product that solves that and you fully believe in it, to get people on board, what we did was we just let them try it for themselves, like literally give them a sample, so that with this product, it's an immediate, as you put it on and breathe in, it is an instant wow or an instant improvement. So it was like getting someone hooked on a drug. It's night and day between not having it and having it. So for us, it was relatively easy. When it comes to other products or services, I suppose someone's really got to want it first, or it's just free trials and let them try it for themselves. Try it, see it, touch it, feel it. What I wouldn't do is pay influencers a lot of money to promote your product if they don't actually believe in it. Like, we haven't had to pay anybody. We've given people product. They've loved it. They've organically promoted it. Probably like happened with Hyrox for the first 650 people, which then turned into tens of thousands of people.
So you've identified a clear problem. You have built a community first. You've made it accessible by handing out sort of free trials or free products for people to instantly try on themselves. You've created a strong brand through those people going out and sort of spreading the word organically. And then you're also leveraging social proof, right? Those people go out, they talk to people, their friends. Yeah, that sounds like a successful.
I think it depends on the product as well, because yes, you can give samples out. Like if it's a food, you can give a small sample. If it's a nasal strip, you can give one and get the instant effect. Certain products, you couldn't afford to give samples out, or you couldn't logistically give a sample of a certain product out because it wouldn't work. So I suppose it depends on what kind of product you're talking about.
We've gone through what are the steps that you would go through in order to achieve a successful business. What's the biggest mistakes you see new brands make? You mentioned already one, sort of paying influencers that don't truly align with your product or with the goal that you're trying to achieve. What are some other ones?
The biggest one I would say with any business, but any individual, is action. Just take action. They don't take action quick enough, and they try and prep and get everything 100% before even launching, if they ever launch. Product, business, or even just trying to improve their health and life or relationship. Just take action and figure it out later. And I don't mean just hope for the best, but have a direction, go for it. If it doesn't work, just reassess and realign. That would be the biggest thing.
What would your opinion be on scaling too fast, as in keeping your product small and strong, and then you going and buying a ridiculous amount of advertisements just to get the product out there?
I suppose then it's knowing your numbers. So if you try to scale too fast, is the paid advertising, let's say, right? If you could just smash it out, paid advertising, acquire as many customers as possible, but is your supply chain going to be able to fulfill that? So as an example, if you sell it of all your stock, you've built this incredible momentum, and then you've got to wait 2, 4, 6, 8 weeks for your product to get remanufactured and shipped out. So if you don't know your numbers, then that could be an issue.
Because there's certain brands like Supreme in the past, a clothing brand, they got extremely popular because of how exclusive it was. I suppose they did scale up, but they kept the product exclusive to them. Another one, I can't remember the name of it, there's a running brand by another English rugby player who started a running brand, and he is currently, you have to have a code to enter the website.
I think it's called like capsule releases.
Okay, yep. Is that something that you guys have thought about doing?
I don't think we need to, because Supreme, as an example, $200, $300, $400 t-shirt, whatever it is, I think it's crazy. I wouldn't pay that. It's very exclusive into who you're trying to target. With our products, we can help everyday athletes. We can help elite athletes. We can help people that have never, ever been in the gym before and just want to sleep better. So we don't need to be that exclusive. We want to be premium in terms of the product, but we don't need to be exclusive, because we genuinely can help everyone. If you have a t-shirt for Supreme or something, you're not gonna want everybody to wear it, but we genuinely can help everyone. So I don't think we'd have exclusive like that.
Ceri, what would you say to someone who has a product, but they're really passionate about it, but they're in an environment or within a market where it's already quite saturated with that? How would you suggest to them to make their product stand out from the rest?
Firstly, the product needs to be better, because if it's not better, yes, it could stand out by paying for more advertising, paying for more influencers or whatever, but that's quickly going to get recognized by the amount of social proof that you can actually get. But to stand out, and I hate the word be authentic, but have a story, have an origin, and build a brand. But that brand can come from the founders of the company, or key people within the company that live, breathe, eat, and sleep the product in every way. Otherwise, everyone can promote stuff. Everyone can do the same user-generated content. But if someone's telling us, basically storytelling, because then you'll buy into the bigger picture. Just look at some of Mr. Beast's stuff. Not only is it well choreographed or well curated and produced challenges or videos, most of them have a story or a meaning behind them in some way. And the other one could be characters, like have characters from within that brand that people can relate to.
Ceri, if someone wants to contact with you or check out GOAT, where should they go?
Ceri_Cummings on Instagram, or the GOAT Co_, or just check her out on the website.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.